Victor Yim, how are you doing?
My first time in a podcast.
This is going to get a little bit spicy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know whether we can off the record, but it should be.
It's not off the record.
It's not off the record. From the government and the regulators, AI will be super important for Hong Kong. If you really are willing to learn,
Vibe coding, right?
you don't even need a developers.
How do you know that this founder has potential?
Charisma.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely important. The charisma to attract talent. The world is cruel.
What is your USP? What is your unique selling point?
You need to have something that differentiates yourself. You need to tell me the reason.
The harsh truth and the harsh realities.
Is it too spicy?
It's not too spicy at all. I think this is actually a good wake-up call, right?
Hong Kong is category leaders of pretty much all asset classes.
Where decision-making actually happens.
Where is better than Hong Kong?
It's got life, it's got soul.
It's so
not
convenient.
just for the weekend, not just for the weekend.
Just for the
trip visit,
weekend.
Okay. It's got people you actually want to hang out
Singapore
with.
is boring. We all know that.
What is the one advice that you would give?
Come to Cyberport.
Victor, I want to get a little bit spicier.
I love spicy.
You love spicy. Let's get into it. Welcome to the FinTech Association Hong Kong podcast, also known as the FTA HK podcast. I'm Caroline York, your host for today. Here we break down FinTech, AI, and everything in between. And today we're joined by someone who sits at the ultimate intersection of tech, policy, and industry. He spent 20 years at global giants like IBM and TransUnion before scaling Cyberport's FinTech cluster to over 400 startups. Now, as the head of AI and data science at Cyberport, he's the one working with regulators to ensure AI isn't just a buzzword, but a safe, practical tool for the real world. He's a PhD researcher, a global speaker, and an ecosystem builder. Victor Yim, it's great to have you at the studio today. How are you doing?
Hi, Caroline. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I know this is actually the first of our series. Really honored to be here today. And this is my first time in a podcast.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Victor, we're going to get a little bit more personal. We would love to know more about you. So maybe as a starting question, let's get into it. What is the most non-tech and most normal thing that people, outside of this ecosystem don't know about Victor Yim?
So actually, my biggest passion is snowboarding.
Oh.
So I've been, I would say, regularly doing snowboarding for more than 15 years, every year, 2 to 3 trips, and really into it. So even the last trip, I got myself a champion in Japan
Wow.
to teach me.
Wow. Okay. Do you do jumps and half pipes and all those as well?
Not really. I tried to do some ground tricks before COVID, but have been stopped doing it a bit too old for that.
Never too old for things. But in any case, one day we'll have AI support on the snowboards as well. So that should be fun. Moving onwards, what I would love to understand is your career actually traversed quite a wide range, right? It kind of started off with IBM, then you went into NICE, Actimize, right? I got that
NICE
right.
Actimize.
Yeah. And then you went into product at TransUnion. So now you're building AI. And I remember when I first met you, you were actually the head of the FinTech cluster at Cyberport, right? Now you're the head of AI. So with all of these career transitions, what triggered these shifts?
So I've been doing business development for tech companies for many years, like starting at IBM. Later on, I moved into financial services, and then I got a chance to move to SaaS. Like AML was a big thing during that period. Like HKMA was really looking into whether banks have a good transaction monitoring system. And we have a good window of opportunity, whereas actually I sold to pretty much all the Chinese banks in Hong Kong, starting from BOC to CCBA, ICBC, Bank of Communication. Pretty much all of them use the SaaS system.
Hong Kong is a strong adopter for all of these FinTech or tech innovations, I would say, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting from a RegTech perspective. We do have our RegTech committee. I used to be an active member of that committee as well. First of all, it's not other system that you need to justify on return on investment because it's forced by the regulators. So you must implement it. Second is you don't need a competitive differentiation on your AML solution. You just need something that will be approved by the regulators. So that's why they just copy and copy and copy, which is the safest approach. And then I moved to a global players called Actimize, who is, I think, still one of the top three in the financial crime space, where I move towards like Southeast Asia. And then I move on to a smaller company, but acquired by Experience, whereas I do device-based fraud detection. And I cover Asia excluding Japan. And eventually I signed the biggest deal ever for that company in China with JD.com. And that's my business development career in a nutshell. And for some reason, I moved back to Hong Kong. And to be honest, at that time, having some difficulty in getting back to a BD role. I was spending a lot of time in China, in Australia, in Southeast Asia. So I was like really lost in touch with the clients in Hong Kong. And eventually I solicited myself to get a job at TransUnion and transform myself into a product.
Despite being in different regions, there's something about the human psychology that you could actually say works either or, regardless in Hong Kong or Australia while you're doing this role.
So when I look back, I was always jumping up and maybe speak in front of the pre-sales or sales engineer, because I always think I know more technical than them as a sales, which is not the best way of doing like sales and so on. But then I developed myself as a trusted advisor rather than like a relationship sales, and also cultivate the curiosity on products and technology. At a certain point of time, I believe I should pursue a more technical oriented career. And I got this chance in TransUnion where I built up the whole fraud and identity solution department from ground up. And I created the first like eKYC solution in Hong Kong. Whereas at that time we sold to HSBC, Hang Seng Bank, and PayMe, etc. So most of the major banks use our solutions. Later on, I also established a partnership with a startup called KnowYourCustomer.com, where we also sold into a big financial institution, including Standard Chartered Bank and Amex, on using the solution to do SME account openings.
You have to find type of knowledge and expertise, so to speak of, and then really drill down from there on, right? And that's almost like one of the keys to your success in moving through all the different career shifts.
Being in IBM allows me to access to like senior technology leaders, and then moving to financial crimes allow me to actually cover the business side rather than the IT side. And then combining both of them, I have the good insight on what works and what doesn't work, and how to turn or how to use technology to solve business problems. And that's, I would say, exactly what you need to be good at product development.
I think AI was already prevalent, but not in the same way that we know of AI today, right? Today, AI is just kind of like, almost like a slogan of sorts. Everybody's like, yeah, I use Claude, I use ChatGPT, I use Gemini. But how did that shift feel like when you jumped from, FinTech, RegTech into now the AI space?
So in fact, when I was doing the eKYC, we were playing a lot with computer vision as well as facial recognition. Even today, before I came here, I actually went to the bank branch to do a eKYC because I couldn't complete it at home. Obviously, they are not using my solutions. But then you need to use computer vision to recognize whether the ID is authentic or not. So that's a more traditional deep learning, predictive type of AI. Or we call it supervised learning. And then the next step is, of course, when you open an account at a digital bank, so you need to do the selfie. And the selfie part is actually quite easy, just to match the pictures. But then the difficult part would be what we call the liveness detection, to make sure that you are a lively person, not
just a photo of a photo.
Not images or so on. And back in the old days, it was all about like deep learning as well. So the difficult part was that you need the data to actually teach the AI to distinguish the good and the bad. and you didn't have the data, so it's hard. Of course, those all change because of generative AI. So because you can generate the data, you can synthesize the data. And now you have what we call the VLM, visual language models, which you don't actually need to teach it anything, but it can comprehend a image. It can know that, oh, this image doesn't seem to be taken by a selfie. It is taken by someone else, so that is suspicious, for example. So that career or that experience actually implant AI into me. I start taking online courses to self-learn AI, and eventually makes me passionate enough to take a part-time PhD. And throughout that period of time, I also got the opportunity, like a referral from a friend about the opportunity of working as a head of FinTech at Cyberport. And I thought EKYC, all that is good, but it's too deep into certain topics. I need to broaden my knowledge into like other things, not just FinTech, not just RegTech, not just EKYC. And actually Cyberport gave me a very good opportunity, which opened my eyes on the InsurTech, on the wealth tech, on like Web3 blockchain, and most importantly, like how private sector work with like government and public sectors.
I mean, you've seen so many different startups, and in fact, you helped incubate over almost 400 different startups while you're on Cyberport, right? What did you have to unlearn, right, in order to be more productive in a startup accelerator space?
So I've been like working many years in business development, and then I build products that are like bestseller in the industry in Hong Kong. So commercial sense and the insight to the market is super important, and I think I'm very good at it. But when it goes to a more public role of like nurturing startups, sometimes you cannot be too involved because you are more the judges or the referees rather than the players. So sometimes because of my background, I could be too involved and maybe giving like too much of my own opinions of whether something works or not. But when like public sector, governments or NGO do something, is a lot of time it's not purely commercial. So I think striking a balance between my commercial lens and the public sector lens has always been fun, but still challenging from time to time. But of course, I think this is also my unique values that I bring into Cyberport, because like most people in Cyberport, apart from some, are always from public sector. So sometimes they lack the commercial lens and do things like too isolated from the commercial needs.
In terms of the fintechs that you've seen, or in terms of the startups you've seen, what really stuck in your mind? And maybe the why for that as well.
Yeah, I can give a few examples. Like one, I think everyone knows, is called OneDegree. They actually changed the group name into AIFT, which can tell how much they committed on AI now. But it's an interesting company, so I know the founder, like Alvin Koch, very well. They started off as a pet insurance first in Hong Kong, and now grow into the biggest pet insurance in Hong Kong as well. But then they don't stop there. Very soon, in fact, they started to branch off on cyber insurance. The founders is always very good at smelling what is the next big thing.
He's got the commercial sense.
The commercial sense is he got the vision. So they don't just start the cyber insurance, but in order to do a good underwriting, they start their own cyber security company. So they do their own like review and audit before they underwrite the project or the company for the cyber insurance. And the interesting part is very soon they use this capability to move into virtual asset insurance.
I remember they were one of the
Like
first to
Web3
offer
insurance.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they were one of the first, and I think they're the biggest market share as well in Hong Kong. So very soon they spot the digital asset Web3 opportunity. And in fact, like Web3 security has a lot commonality with cybersecurity. So very soon they grow into doing Web3 security. And because of regulatory requirements, the cold wallet, even with the cold wallet, you still need to have your custodies money being insured. Not just in Hong Kong, I think our jurisdiction have that regulations. And that is exactly the RegTech example that what I was telling. So they were very good at replicating that, not just in Hong Kong, but then very soon grow into Southeast Asia. We brought them to the Middle East, and then they landed in the UAE, in Saudi, and through Saudi, I think they told me they also sold to the MENA region, the Africa countries. And then the latest thing is actually they move into AI insurance. So that's one of the very good example in our community. Another example I want to talk about is our community members in FTA as well, our board members company, Endowus. So they are also a Cyberport community. Actually, I recruit staff to join the incubation program. So I really like to point them out because one of the founders actually originated from Hong Kong, whereas later on relocate to Singapore, and whereas the company grew to a significant size, and he moved back. So relocate his family back and start the Hong Kong entity. And I think that's a very good story for Hong Kong to tell, because obviously they're doing very well in Singapore, get backed by the government, backed by the financial institution there, but they still choose to grow back to Hong Kong. And now, of course, also doing quite well here.
I remember in my wealth tech days as well, Endowus had a very, very smart way of actually partnering up with the bigger traditional banks. And I think that is a very sustainable route for a lot, or maybe even an exit strategy for a lot of the fintech startups, right? Eventually hoping that your technology gets adopted by the bigger institutions, and therefore you can benefit the masses further through that means.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they got one of the very important check in the box, which is the endorsement by the major financial institution. For them, it's not only an endorsement, but also actually investment by UBS and Citibank. So
yeah, that's very, very powerful.
Big check in the box for startups.
Into now specifically AI. Maybe you can give us some heads up on in terms of like what is exactly happening in the Hong Kong AI space.
I think for Hong Kong overall, we are pushing hard on AI from all levels. First of all, from government levels, I think a lot of funding support has been done. Of course, a part of that comes to our work at Cyberport. So we build the largest AI supercomputing center for Hong Kong with 3,000 P. And we also help administer 3 billion Hong Kong, what we call the AISS, the subsidy scheme, to subsidize projects to use those processing power. The government also allocate money to build the AI institute, and also building our own AI for government, the Hong Kong Guide, which is, I think, becoming a popular app for normal citizens as well. And internally, I know the government is also pushing hard on different departments in using AI for productivity gain. And that's government side. And of course, for commercial, I think whether it's a big enterprise, whether you're SME, everyone is really working hard in adopting AI. For us, we work closely with different regulators. We started the Generative AI sandbox with HKMA. We co-created 2 years ago. And we have run the first cohort, now running the second cohort. And recently we expanded that into what we call the Sandbox Plus, which expanded into insurance, brokerage, and the MPF industry as well. We do see from a financial services industry, there is a consensus from the government and the regulators that AI will be super important for Hong Kong to stay relevant as the international financial hub. Is very important for us to keep moving. And of course, we are also influenced by the trends from China. For example, open cloud. It was so popular in China, and I do see people surrounding us no matter which industry, people are trying out open cloud. The big tech firm is also doing a lot for us so that they are creating their own variation of open cloud so that people with less technical skills can also adopt it very easily. We organized one with Tencent,
Yeah, I remember
a
that.
workshop, and Cyberport, we also organized another one with BytePlus. It's called the Art Cloud. So all like cloud-based and very easy to install and less security problems. I think overall Hong Kong is having a lot of support from government and regulators and the industry and moving along quite fast. But of course, I would say US and China will be moving still faster than us. Maybe because US, of course, they are very open-minded with anything new. And China nowadays is also, in general, the citizens are less risk-averse and more jumping into new technology.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you go to China, you can't use cash. Now, Hong Kong has only recently rolled out taxis that take credit cards and octopus.
Oh, I was so relieved.
Right? So cash was still
cash.
king. I know cash is a thing, but I can't believe because we need to take taxis, I need to always go to the ATM to bring out the cash, right?
Exactly.
Is it actually really challenging to get these small, medium-sized companies, and we have a lot of those, right? Family-run businesses, to take on more AI and to convince them that this is actually good for them?
So I do believe that this wave of technology evolution is actually a very good chance for the SME. Unlike in the past, even building a mobile app, it's not easy. But now, if you really are willing to learn, you don't even need a developer.
It's called vibe coding, right?
It's called vibe coding, exactly.
Because you just go with the vibe.
Also important to go with the vibe. I do see this wave is, unlike in the past, there's a big barrier to adopt. This wave is just a matter of how willing you are to spend the effort, because it's not like you need to learn how to code. You can wipe code, and some of those even no need to wipe code. You just build the app through natural languages, interfacing with the models. So I do believe this wave is even a big opportunity for the SME to really transform themselves and do something great.
There's actually just more reviewing things that we need to do as humans, because the agentic AIs or the AIs themselves will produce the work, but we have to actually put on our critical thinking hats and look at the quality of the work and the logic behind it in order to decipher if this is actually good enough work to put out into the world.
The critical thinking that you just said, I think that is one of the key elements of a good use of AI. And I also learned is the creativity. So those are the two key words to use AI wisely.
All right, Victor, I want to get a little bit spicier. I mean, with my background, also working.
I love spicy.
You love spicy. Okay, we go mild spicy first, and then we litter on with more spice. So, I've worked with a lot of startup founders over the course of my career as well. But maybe when they first come in as an incubatee, or they come to Cyberport for some grants and whatnot, how do you know that this founder has potential? Like this, you have something special. What is it that you look for in these founders? And you're like, this is the winning horse I'm willing to bet on.
First of all, charisma, absolutely important, because not only you need the charisma to attract your investor, your customer, but most importantly is you need to have the charisma to attract talent and to keep the talent in working for you. And a lot of the time, the founding team might arise some disagreement that eventually break the company, right? So charm definitely is very important. Second is the co-founder thing, right?
It's like a husband and wife duo, right?
The chance of success of having two or more co-founder will be much higher.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
The single person startup journey is very hard to tolerate when you are just on your own. You don't have someone to support you. And you have up and downs. And also you don't have anyone to complement your weakness.
Right. So basically, if you want to come into Cyberport, make sure you have a couple of co-founders so that Victor will be like, you have a higher chance of success.
Not necessary. I mean, that we have a very systematic way of accepting startups and so on. And it's not just upon me. Not until recently, I'm not even involved in the vetting process. It's all by like external, like third parties. Now we are involved a little bit, but still, it doesn't mean if you're just on your own, it doesn't work. Especially now with AI and OPC and all that, I do believe this landscape might change, but it's just in the past, usually with co-founders is much better.
Statistically, right?
And then another thing I really need to talk about, which is, I don't know whether we can off the record, but like it should be.
It's not off the record.
It's not off the record. It could be discouraging to people, but I always tell people, like, you need to understand the world is actually cruel and you need to face the reality. You need to have something that differentiates yourself, that make you successful. Not just that you are smart, you have a good education background, and you build something very good, doesn't mean you will be successful, especially 100%. In Hong Kong. That could be a reason that you are well connected, your family are well connected, you have a wealthy family, or that your company is part of another company, especially in the B2B space. Sometimes it doesn't just work without any reason. So there must be reason that you are successful. So you need to tell me the reason.
Yes. The harsh truth and the harsh realities that a lot of founders have to come face to face with.
Is it too spicy?
It's not too spicy at all. I think this is actually a good wake-up call, right? And something that we as branding and marketing always say, what is your USP? What is your unique selling point? Or what is your knife's edge proposition if you can only choose one? And if you can't actually articulate it well and you can't demonstrate why you would win, comparing to the fact that we were saying a lot of companies now are kind of cookie cutter, right? It's AI versus AI, right? What is the difference underlying mechanism or even the learning behind it that separates you from your competitors? And without that, it's hard to say.
Doing a tech startup is same as doing a SME. It's doing a business. Like after all, business is about business, and there must be a reason that someone buy from you, but not from the others.
The term is, what is your appeal, right? What is your charismatic point? And I think you're right, because when I look at founders, those who are eccentric, sometimes their eccentricity, the founder character comes out so much stronger, right? That people can't help but be captivated by the story.
One more now come to my mind, very, very important. We do see extreme founders, like one which are very capital market driven or investor driven, like always build things that could attract investor, but do too little on the real stuff, the real product development, the real content and so on. And then we do see another extreme is the founders who just work very hard in building a good product, in doing business, closing customers, but never think about like fundraising, etc. Because I think you need to be in between. I don't know why in a lot of cases, these two extremes appear a lot, but it's hard to find people who can do both.
That's why you need the co-founders or co-founding team members who can help out.
And in our community, I also see a lot of them working really hard in closing business, which is, of course, very important. But then it could easily plateau after a certain period. They also underestimate the power of investors. They always thought, if I can break even, if I can make profit, why do I need an investor? But in other cases, the investor can get you into other businesses.
It opens doors to other
doors,
places.
and also the investor might have other portfolio companies that can use your products, especially if your investor may be a conglomerate.
If you look at all the different startups you have now, we have several unicorns in Hong Kong. When do you think, or what is that one trait you can pick out from them that says, actually, we have incubated you well. You are ready to go global?
So I think both us and other parks such as Hong Kong STP, we organize a lot of like overseas delegation in bringing tech firm overseas to join like exhibition, etc., etc. To be honest, in a lot of these expedition, most of them are not very effective in the sense that the company joining are too small. As a rule of thumb, if you are not the category leaders within your own jurisdiction, don't think about going overseas.
Wow.
In normal scenario. Of course, there's a unique scenario that your product might be more suitable for an overseas market, but not here. Then that's a different story that you can immediately go overseas. For example, we have company that have a strong tie with UNDP. They do create carbon registry for like African countries, for example. They don't do business at all in Hong Kong. Even the two founders, one of them are teaching at Hong Kong U, and I think the other one is also the student of the professor. But those are the special case. But most of the cases, if you are not already the category leader in your own home ground, don't think about going overseas.
We only have 7.8 million people in the city. Isn't it really hard to crack it in Hong Kong? Or maybe some companies would even say it's too small of a market to even bother. I might as well go overseas, like a lot of the celebrity singers. We're going to go into the mainland and break into that market instead, because the potential is so much bigger. What do you say about that thought process?
I think Hong Kong is a very good springboard. Like we use that word at Cyberport. We call it a super connector as well, but it's also a good springboard and a good sandbox itself. So if your solution is proven in Hong Kong, it can easily get replicated. But that is actually depends on what industry you are in. And even in FinTech, like B2B and B2C is very different. B2C, even you are very successful in Hong Kong, doesn't mean you can be very successful in Singapore, for example. Or in Thailand, for example, because like the demographics and the preference of consumers could be very different. But for B2B, in fact, especially in the RegTech space, for example, something I'm very familiar with, because the financial crime requirements across the board is quite similar. And Hong Kong has, if not the highest, is one of the higher standard in terms of AML, etc. regulations. So if you can be used by a bank in Hong Kong that got approved by HKMA, pretty much you are portable to anywhere in the world.
So there are certain industries that do really well in Hong Kong as a springboard versus others, right? And I think that one would be finance in general. Finance, RegTech, anything related to the financial industry.
And I would believe maybe something you're more familiar than me is the retail brands. So I think a lot of the brands getting successful in Hong Kong now is being well recognized in China, right? For example, Zhou Daifeng.
Yes. And also, I think Casetify, right? I think that's also a Hong Kong home brand, but went pretty viral overseas as well. So there is definitely a lot.
Labubu, of course.
Labubu. I forgot about that one, but you're right. Pop Mart did very, very well, globally speaking. There is a lot of opportunities here in Hong Kong. So when people come in, what other things do you think makes Hong Kong such an interesting place for people to look into?
First of all, very clear, Hong Kong is category leaders of pretty much all asset classes. Like IPO, we rank number one again. Even like this year with SpaceX, maybe we will pump to 2, but I think for the trajectory in the next few years, we will be top 3. And bond markets also, I think Asia, we are by far also the top. Green bonds, green finance, we are also top in the region.
And I
we are
throw in
also
digital assets?
Digital asset, I don't have the figures, but for wealth management, we are second largest, just after Switzerland. And I think insurance, in terms of insurance penetration, we are also by far the biggest. So pretty much like all these finance
Related.
category, we are all category leaders. So where is better than Hong Kong for you to financial related businesses, whether you sell to this company or you want to be part of this ecosystem, whether in the equity market or in the bond market or
And
wealth
even
management.
family offices these days, right? That's a huge initiative here in Hong Kong as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think because of the uncertainty arise from all over the world, Hong Kong stand out as a very stable, safe places for wealth. And that's why recently there were a lot of money inflowing also like in these family offices sectors.
I think we were joking when I was at a lot of these conferences that where the real capital congregates is actually Hong Kong. You look anywhere else in APAC region, Hong Kong is what people were saying where decision making actually happens. So, as a Hong Konger, I'm very proud of that fact. And for sure, we have a lot of opportunities for startups to come through here.
Adding to that would be like for digital asset, your specialty. And during my time at the head of FinTech, I also work with, incubate and recruit a lot of good Web3 companies. And Hong Kong has a very robust and sustainable regulatory framework to support the development of Web3. Especially more important is how blockchain or the Web3 infrastructure can fuel the transformation of TradFi and eventually, I would say, merge into something bigger. And the IPO market obviously is also helping startup and tech development. Like all the recent major AI company in China listed in Hong Kong, and their stock price is doing great. And so more are coming.
That's exciting times, honestly, for Hong Kong.
I was told that we have 500 company waiting in that queue.
That is fantastic. That is great news for all my lawyer friends who are in IPOs at the moment.
Yes, and the auditor and everyone.
Everyone down the food chain, right? So I would say in Hong Kong, not only do we have those vast opportunities, one of the key points is also, personally, I find, talent, right? I think Hong Kong talent, we attract some of the best global talents around. This is going to get a little bit spicy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But the best of the Singaporeans are actually also in Hong Kong. And a lot of the wonderful mainland talents are also attracted to come into Hong Kong. So talent attraction is one thing that we're really good at, right?
Yeah, we're very good. We have famously 5 university in QS 100. I'm from Hong Kong U, and now it's 11 at QS.
Fantastic.
I heard we have a chance to hit the top 10 this year.
Okay. As an alumni of Hong Kong U, I'm pretty happy and proud of that fact too.
And also our talent pool is backed by the whole Greater Bay Area. Some of your friends are living in Shenzhen or somewhere in Greater Bay Area, but commute to Hong Kong for work. I'm sure that's the case, right? So it's actually this 1 hour circle of living is getting real because of the high-speed train and very good infrastructure in terms of transportation.
Yeah, 100%. I think
I also want to relocate to Shenzhen. Actually, it's so convenient.
Not just for the weekend. Not just for the weekend.
Just for the weekend.
Okay.
Even the delivery, you can get any food so cheap.
If only we had that in Hong Kong. It's okay. Maybe AI will make the price of food delivery cheaper at some point.
Hong Kong is much better than the past, but the price is still so much different.
The drawbacks is Hong Kong is pricey, but I would say the lifestyle, and I think that's why the talent are attracted. A couple of my friends went over to other first-tiered cities here in APAC, and they realized, you know what, Hong Kong's got it. It's got life. It's got soul. It's got people you actually want to hang out
Singapore
with.
is boring. We all know that.
Okay, I wasn't going to name the city itself, but I talk about this. It's about having that right balance. I'm not saying Hong Kong people are not workaholics. We really are. I work in the crypto space. We work round the clock, right? And my round the clock would be US timing because the US people don't like to work past 6 p.m. And we work 10 p.m., 11 p.m., sometimes until the closing of the US market. And
You
then
have the AI agent very soon so that you can sleep better.
Oh my gosh.
You don't need to work.
That would be so good if it's completely indifferentiable to myself, right? Yeah, I would say round the clock working. Hong Kong has that interesting middle point where we are actually really hardworking, right? But not the 996 or the what is it?
For
the
that,
Ping Duo Duo kind of situation.
Yeah, for that point though, we had more like night food restaurant opening in the past. It's now so hard to find food.
It's ever since Choi Wa became a non-24-hour establishment, made our life so much more difficult.
Yeah.
But
the restaurant 7 times 24 more than Hong Kong Stock Exchange 7 times 24.
I think there's definitely a startup idea here for those who are watching and listening, right? We need food and beverage to fuel the Hong Kong talent ecosystem. All right. So I think in terms of this, is there any last words and advice you would give to some of our audiences? What is the one advice that you would give for people coming into this space?
The one advice would be come to Cyberport.
Love the plug. Love the plug. We heard and discussed everything from AI to your snowboarding skills to what makes Hong Kong so great. We would love to have you back at some point. But for now, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me again, and looking forward to the next episode.
Victor, thank you so very much. Hearing about your journey from building systems to architecting AI policy has been truly fascinating. Now, this is the perfect example of how the human stories drive the industry forward. We believe in the power of unexpected pairings and candid dialogue that goes beyond business, and we'll continue to look past the hype to find the people building things that truly matter here in Hong Kong. That was Victor Yim on the FTAHK podcast. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next one.